Most people believe freedom begins the moment others finally approve of them. But Schopenhauer saw something darker. He believed the more desperately you seek recognition, the less of yourself remains. Because approval is never a gift. It is a contract. And every contract has a price. You notice it in small ways. You soften an opinion before speaking. You hesitate before posting an honest thought. You laugh at jokes you never found funny. Not because you are weak, but because somewhere inside your mind, a silent judge has taken the throne. That judge does not ask what is true. It asks what will be accepted. This is why intelligent people often become prisoners of ordinary crowds. They possess knowledge, but surrender judgment. They trade certainty for applause, and without realizing it, they begin living inside other people's expectations. Schopenhauer argued that the greatest prison has no walls. It is built from invisible opinions. You cannot see it, but you obey it every day. Look around the modern world. A single comment can erase years of confidence. A viral trend can redefine beauty overnight. An algorithm quietly decides which ideas deserve attention and which disappear into silence. People claim they are expressing themselves while endlessly measuring reactions. The strange paradox is this: the more connected society becomes, the more dependent identity grows on strangers. What if confidence is not believing in yourself? What if true confidence is no longer needing witnesses? That question terrified Schopenhauer. Because once a person escapes the hunger for approval, they become unpredictable. And nothing unsettles society more than someone who no longer asks permission. By the end of this video, you may discover that the opinions controlling your life were never truly yours. And once you see that, you cannot return to the comfort of not knowing. Number 1. The invisible audience. Every decision changes when you believe someone is watching. That audience does not have to exist. You carry it inside your mind. A teenager chooses clothes imagining classmates. A CEO rewrites a presentation imagining shareholders. A creator deletes original work imagining anonymous comments. None of these people respond to reality. They respond to imagined judgment. Schopenhauer believed that human suffering grows whenever our peace depends on forces outside ourselves. Today, social media has transformed this tendency into a permanent lifestyle. The audience never leaves. Even when the phone is off, the mind continues performing. The surprising truth is that most criticism never arrives. We censor ourselves long before anyone else has the chance. The prison guards are no longer other people. They have become our own thoughts. Once you recognize the invisible audience, you begin asking a dangerous question. If nobody were watching, would I still make the same choice? That question opens the next layer. Number 2. Approval is an addiction that never ends. Most addictions promise relief before demanding dependence. Approval follows exactly the same pattern. The first compliment feels harmless. Then you begin needing another, then another. Eventually, silence feels like rejection. This is why external validation never creates confidence. It creates tolerance. The more you receive, the more you require. Modern platforms understand this better than most psychologists. They reward attention unpredictably. Sometimes a post explodes. Sometimes it disappears. The uncertainty keeps people returning, hoping for the next emotional reward. Schopenhauer would recognize this immediately. He argued that desire does not disappear after satisfaction. It simply finds a new object. The promotion loses its excitement. The applause fades. The praise becomes ordinary. What once felt extraordinary becomes the minimum expectation. The twist is unsettling. Many successful people are not happier than unsuccessful people. They are simply addicted to larger audiences. Once your identity feeds on approval, no amount is enough. The question is no longer who admires you. It becomes who profits from your hunger. And that leads somewhere even deeper. Number 3. Society rewards sameness before greatness. History remembers original thinkers, but their own generation usually resisted them. That contradiction reveals something uncomfortable. Society celebrates innovation only after it becomes safe. While an idea is still dangerous, it is mocked, ignored, or misunderstood. Schopenhauer spent much of his life in relative obscurity, while less influential philosophers received admiration that later vanished. He experienced firsthand that popularity and truth rarely travel together. The same pattern survives today. In business, the safest proposal often receives immediate support, while the bold solution faces suspicion. On social media, the familiar opinion spreads faster than the uncomfortable insight because familiarity feels less threatening. People mistake agreement for evidence. They confuse popularity with wisdom. This explains why chasing approval quietly reshapes thinking. You stop asking whether an idea is correct. You begin asking whether it will be accepted. That subtle shift changes everything. The greatest loss is not your reputation. It is your curiosity. Because once curiosity bows to acceptance, the mind stops discovering, and the next prison is even harder to notice. Number 4. Comparison creates imaginary defeat. Comparison looks rational because numbers appear objective. More followers, more money, more recognition, more influence. But Schopenhauer warned that human misery often begins the moment we measure ourselves against another person's fortune. In today's world, the comparison never ends. There is always someone younger, richer, faster, or more admired. Algorithms make certain you never forget it. The shocking reality is that many comparisons are completely artificial. You compare your ordinary afternoon to someone else's carefully edited highlight. You compare your unfinished journey to another person's polished ending. No judge would call that fair. Yet millions do it every day. This constant measurement quietly rewrites identity. You stop asking who you are. You begin asking where you rank. That is the language of competition, not consciousness. And once life becomes a scoreboard, every victory is temporary because someone else will eventually score higher. Schopenhauer believed peace begins when desire loses its authority. Perhaps the first desire that must disappear is the need to stand above someone else. But if approval and comparison both imprison the mind, what happens when a person finally stops competing altogether? That is where the deepest transformation begins. Number 5. Solitude reveals the person hidden by applause. Most people fear loneliness because they mistake it for emptiness. Schopenhauer made a different observation. He believed solitude is where borrowed identities begin to dissolve. When no one is watching, there is no audience to impress, no reputation to defend, no image to maintain. At first, this silence feels uncomfortable, not because solitude is painful, but because it removes distraction. Modern life fights against this moment every hour. A notification arrives before a thought can mature. A headline interrupts reflection. A conversation replaces introspection. Many people spend years surrounded by voices yet never hear their own. In leadership, this becomes dangerous. A leader who cannot sit alone with uncomfortable ideas eventually governs by public mood rather than clear judgment. The same happens inside families, companies, and friendships. The loudest opinion slowly becomes the accepted one, even when it is wrong. The paradox is simple. The person who spends time alone is often accused of withdrawing from the world, while in reality they may be seeing it more clearly than those constantly surrounded by noise. And once silence stops feeling like punishment, it becomes a weapon against illusion, which leads to an even stranger discovery. Number 6. Reputation is a shadow, not an identity. A shadow follows you, but it is never you. Reputation works the same way. It reflects how others perceive your actions, not who you actually are. Schopenhauer warned against confusing appearance with essence, because the two often move in opposite directions. Some of history's most admired figures hid profound insecurity, while many overlooked individuals possessed extraordinary clarity. Today, reputation travels faster than character. A single viral moment can manufacture admiration overnight. A single mistake can erase years of respect. Public opinion moves with astonishing speed because it feeds on novelty rather than understanding. The danger appears when people begin protecting the shadow instead of strengthening the person. They avoid necessary risks. They hide honest opinions. They become caretakers of an image instead of builders of a life. The irony is brutal. The more energy you spend maintaining reputation, the more fragile it becomes. Because anything built upon public approval can be destroyed by public emotion. The truly independent person understands that character survives where reputation cannot. And once character becomes more valuable than image, fear begins losing its grip. But fear itself has one final disguise: